Our mission is to help players take their game to the next level and reach their potential. Not only do we help develop fundamental technical skills such as ball control in tight spaces with different surfaces, dribbling at speed and changing direction, using a variety of 1v1 skills to create space, receiving on a half turn, hook turn, and out of the air, finishing off the dribbling, one-touch, volleys, and headers. We help players get comfortable performing these skills at game speed with pressure and with both their dominant and non-dominant foot. In addition, we help players with their speed of play, awareness of space, defenders and teammates, and also dominate with their off-the-ball movement. We offer a variety of services such as one-on-ones, small groups, large groups, as well as team sessions. We have an experienced coaching staff that is professional, friendly, patient, while still holding players to high standards and holding them accountable. No matter what level you're at as a player, I'm confident we can help you get better. Over the past 3 years, we've built one of the best soccer-specific training facilities in the country and developed one of the most detail-oriented programs to help out players. Visit our website.
Participate.
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom.
On the diamond.
In the pool. On the field. Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah! Be great. Participate!
Granite City Food and Brewery has 2 Michigan locations in Troy and Northville. Serves made-from-scratch food, brews in-house beer, and even has brunch every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. To learn more about their daily specials or to book a private party, visit gcfb.com. Make sure you head over to Granite City in Northville at the corner of 7 Mile and Haggerty, or the Troy location at 16 Mile and I-75.
The following is a presentation of the Michigan Soccer Network. In for Baccarat, and that goes in! Hugo Baccarat gives Flint City a 3-2. Buckley, oh, the ball falls to Buckley. 1-on-1 with Etheridge. What a save!
Welcome into the first ever MSN All-State Media Day for girls soccer. Jonathan Turner alongside Dan Stickrat.
Ball comes in, a good hit! 1-0! Shot, another save from Etheridge! Rebound, and it goes in the back of the net. The Bulldogs up 1-0! Burzma with it for Vlasma! 3-0! Stewart Heiss with a shot! Upper 90 and in!
Effectively today here on the Michigan Soccer Network, we are launching our new division of player recruitment videos.
Mario Canoe now finds Stock. Finds Stock's got a left-footed banger. He shoots it, and it's in! The Red Hawks equalize! Going to be a shot from distance that goes to the back of the net! What a strike! All put up high in back post. This one still finds a way. That one goes in. Steps up. And a save! And St. John's comes from the depths! Now Worrell has a good cutback from him. He'll fire one, and that's going to go in!
Are
Are you looking to play at the next level? MSN is now offering player recruitment videos. We are excited to partner with you and your family in getting you to the next level. To learn more about our packages and what we offer, head over to the MichiganSoccerNetwork.com. Remember, your journey starts with a click.
Going to be a shot from distance that goes in the back of the net! What a strike! All put up high in back post. This one still finds a way. Steps up, and a save! And St. John's comes from the depths!
My dad and my grandfather are officials. I've grown up around officials and seeing how much they enjoy being part of the games. As a student athlete, I've always appreciated the people out there who are willing to give back to the kids. The Legacy program lets me officiate while I'm still in high school, working younger kids' games. Officiating gives me a better understanding of the game. I get to make some pretty good money for a high school kid, and I even get to spend some quality time with my dad. There's help wanted. Just whistle.
Sacker down by the end line. Puts us across. LUTHERAN! And just like that, 1-1. Now Elders may look to take a shot. He does, and he buries it! Steps up, and just like that, Reed Dennis comes up big. LUTHERAN, one-on-one. LUTHERAN, oh, he'll be taken down inside the box.
Knocked back in. Nationals got it. Bicycle kick for a goal!
Now Sacker. Sacker into the 18. Sacker shot. That goes off the goalkeeper's glove into the net. 2-1 here in the 32nd. This one played in. That's a good ball. That one goes in. And just like that, the Nationals now have a 1-0 lead. Walensky puts his far post. One-touch opportunity. And what a great goal that was.
Joaquin Beatty of Ohio League.
Look at that shot from Sevi Roy. My goodness, Sevi Roy with a left-footed banger.
We are the MHSAA, a collection of 750 high schools and 750 middle schools, from Temperance to Copper Harbor, from New Buffalo to Alpena. Each year, more than 250,000 students play one of our 28 sports. More than 1.5 million fans attend our postseason games. There are 30,000 coaches and 8,000 officials, not to mention all of the volunteers. The MHSAA believes in the 4 S's. School sports should be safe and kept in the appropriate scope. We believe nothing beats great sportsmanship, and that scholarship in the classroom is more important than excellence on the field or court. Most of all, we believe school sports should be fun. So come out and join us at a game. Support your school, support your community, and come see what the excitement is all about.
He'll cut it back on his left foot, and that goes in! Towards the 6, a one-time shot, and it's 2. Now one with Everett! What a save! One-time shot! My goodness! One finds his way back.
Well, much like we did in our first matchup here today in the Cardinal Championship, we will once again see another school be crowned champions for the first time in program history here in game number 2. St. Francis de Sales taking on Lutheran North in this second matchup, the Bishop Championship here on the Michigan Soccer Network. Lutheran North 13-1-1 coming into this one. St. Francis de Sales 9-1-1. And a very interesting matchup between these two teams. One of them Toledo-based, one of them here from the state of Michigan. But Dan, as we look at these two squads coming in, we talked about Cristo Rey in game number 1 being a little bit of a mystery. I don't know if there's so much as a mystery between these two teams. Very talented top to bottom. But what's your takeaway coming into this ball game here tonight?
Well, first you look at St. Francis de Sales. So there's 3 Catholic League teams that come from Toledo, Ohio. They joined the league last summer in all the sports. Their conference disbanded 2 years ago. A bunch of other schools in that league formed another conference. 3 Toledo-based schools came up here. So this is the first time that Toledo St. Francis de Sales has been in the Catholic League tournament final in just their second season in the league. They've been a quality side down in the Toledo, Ohio area for many years, much like Toledo St. John Jesuit, who won the Central Division and the Bishop Tournament last year, coming out of Toledo in their very first year in the league. They're both quality teams down there in Ohio. Macomb Lutheran North has been a very quality team dating back to the mid-1980s, but they just joined the Catholic League about a decade ago. Macomb Lutheran North, Grosse Pointe Woods, University Liggett, who won the Cardinal Division Championship last year. They both came in that league about a decade ago. This is the first time Macomb Lutheran North has been able to get out of that AA division into the Catholic League tournament final, but it's a very quality program. They have been ranked in the top 10 of Division III all season long. They got up to as high as number 2 in the rankings here a few weeks ago. They're number 6 right now, but 13-1-1, it shows you how much better that program is over last year. And both these teams have played very competitive schedules in the league, outside of the conference. You should expect a very good matchup.
Here's the beauty shot. It's like walking the runway here. Hair flying all over the place. That's more hair in one picture than I've seen in quite some time. You're doing okay, Dan. You still have the flow going on a little bit.
Yeah.
Not as much myself over here. I got the widow's peak look, but
yeah, I got a little bit of a bald spot on my right side, so I am in my 50s, but
both of these two lining up, though, should be a great showdown here as we figure out who takes home the Bishop Championship in this one here today. Here you see the Mustangs, Lutheran North lined up on the left side of your screen. Over on the right side in the white and in the red, St. Francis de Sales. By the way, St. Francis de Sales, led by Mike Kern, is his 3rd season as head coach of this team. On the other side for Lutheran North, right now ranked 6th in Division III in the state of Michigan. Anthony Vanny is their head coach. He's been there for a little bit of time, taking over in the 22 season. You have the national anthem. Then we'll bring you right back here on MSN.
Now, please remain standing for the playing of our national anthem. Now let's meet tonight's starting lineup. First, for the St. Francis Sale Knights. Number 4, Jacob Hoffman. Number 5, Owen Little. Number 6, Jonathan Brennan. Number 7, Drew Bucket. Number 8, Gavin Trent. Number 9, Jonathan Davis. Number 10, Josh Brennan. Number 12, Ryan Olsenbrock. Number 23, Ethan Heiger. Number 24, Armando Ayala. And the keeper, number 31, Joel Neary. Head coach of the Knights is Mike Kern. And now the starters for the Lutheran North Mustangs. Number 2, Luca Gibbs. Number 6, Nathan Baggy. Number 7, Mateo Vitale. Number 9, Julian Gibbs. Number 11, Dominic Soroki. Number 15, Peter Della. Number 18, Landon Nielsen. Number 19, Aiden Verbinio. Number 20, Jake Van Hegel. Number 21, Ian Todd. And the keeper, 0, William Brzezinski. Head coach of the Mustangs is Anthony Barney.
Well, after all the halftime festivities and the pregame festivities, all the fist bumps have concluded. We're just about ready for game time here on the Michigan Soccer Network. Saw the Cardinal Championship a little bit earlier. Was Cristo Rey with a 2-0 shutout, collecting their first ever Cardinal Championship title in program history. But now we get ready to see if one of these two programs can get a first in program history. There's a look at Lutheran North getting ready for this one. The ultimate goal, obviously, getting their first state championship in team history. And then on the other side, we talked about more of that Toledo influence in the Detroit area in all sports, really across the board. But Toledo St. Francis de Sales coming into Royal Oak Shrine here, looking to take over and also collect their first Bishop championship. So we're just about ready to kick this one off. Nate Wangler, Dan Stickrat to my right, Corey Bird on the ones and twos, our producer here today, Jonathan Turner, Sam Fisher, both in attendance at the stadium. That night sky beginning to cascade the pitch as here we go. The rain has also concluded and had a lot of rain come through the area a little bit earlier, made the playing surface definitely damp. In that first game, a little bit unpredictable, but fortunately, Dan, that has gone away. Now an opportunity to get a clean start to this one, but was just a big mass of stuff that moved through the Detroit area. But now it seems like, at least for the meantime, we're in the clear.
Yeah, we saw at game one, the rain stopped right at the conclusion of halftime. There was no rain in the second half. It poured between 3 and 5 o'clock, even a little bit past 5 earlier this afternoon. It did have an effect on the first half of game number 1 here in game number 2. Looks like things have dried up quite a bit, so we'll see any more rainstorms do come through the area. We've had a few here in the last 12 hours.
Yeah, it's been on and off, that much is for sure. Into the St. Francis de Sales zone, but it's collected here in net. Joel Neary, by the way, in net. Sophomore for this team. On the other side for Lutheran North, William Brzezinski is in net. You talk about the importance of having good goaltending. We highlighted that during game number 1 for Cristo Rey, who was able to take home the Cardinal Championship. But Brzezinski is another name to take a look at and pay close attention to in this game. He's been in net for this team since he was a freshman. This one's all the way into net. The aforementioned Brzezinski stopping it on his foot before he picks it up here just about 2 minutes into this first half. But he's had a lot of experience in that position. He's been there since first coming to the schools, so a lot of seasoning for him over the years. And
early in his freshman year, there was an injury to a senior goalkeeper. He was thrust into action as the #1 goalkeeper. He maintained that spot the rest of the season. He's had a #1 job now for 3 years, so a lot of experience between the pipes. And when you get into conference tournaments, state tournaments, you need a quality goalkeeper, and he is one of many here in the state of Michigan. You're going to want to keep an eye on here as the upcoming state tournament is just around the corner, beginning middle of next week with the pre-district rounds. But a lot of soccer still to be played around the state. Over 70 conference champions will be crowned either last week or this week. A multitude of conference tournaments are going on in various leagues across the state. It's a very exciting time of year. Glad to be part of 2 of them here today on the Michigan Soccer Network.
Talking about Anthony Vanny, though, the head coach of this Lutheran North team. Again, right now 6th place in Division III. Trying to create a little bit of their own history here in this 2024 campaign. Vanny took over the program 2 years ago. Took a 4-win team to a 10-5-5 finish in his first year in 2022. As this one's picked up by Neary, near the top of that box as he quickly rolls it back out just past 3 minutes here into this first half.
Now, Lutheran North, a little bit of a slight rebuilding job last year. They had a quality senior class, just a little bit unfortunate, a ton of 1-goal losses. They were 9-10-1 overall and 3-6-1 in the Catholic League AA division, so they were 5th place. But they still outscored the opposition 58-43. Just a little bit snake bit in a lot of those close games. This year, those close games have turned into wins. The Mustangs have been top 10 in Division III since the preseason. They've been as high as #2. They are clicking on all cylinders. This is one of the better teams they've had in the last couple of decades.
Well, Brzezinski, not the only example of a player that has gotten some good minutes since his freshman season. There's been a good crop of players that have been playing really since they ever came into the program. And it's funny, Anthony Vanny was actually highlighting the importance of the 2025 senior class, not even the 2024 senior class. Still very important, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of those guys that started in their first season, and a big reason why they were able to go out and collect that AA divisional title, which is really the first step in the right direction. Good feed on. Maybe an opportunity for Julian Gibbs. Centers it for a drive that's knocked down right in front.
You talk about Julian Gibbs, a sophomore, #9, who has the ball.
Gibbs to his left. Is there someone in front? Taken off the foot, Matteo Vitali. And of all the key members of this team we were talking about, another one of them was a member of MLS Next, now back on this team, trying to push them towards the state championship.
Yeah, Vitali played with Vardar in the MLS Next system last couple of years. He is playing his senior year. Quite a few teams have benefited this season across the state where they've gotten some impact players who maybe not have played the last couple of seasons or not ever played high school at all. There's a lot of teams that have welcomed in 1, 2, 3, 4, even 5 players to come back that can have a huge impact on how your conference season, how your non-league games, how your tournament run will play out when you have that many high-quality club players come back. Lutheran North obviously brought back Vitali. One of their key players you want to watch, #9, Julian Gibbs. All-state as a freshman. He was either on the 3rd or 2nd team. I don't have that list in front of me, but just to be in one of the first, 2nd or 3rd team All-Staters as a freshman is very difficult to do. He plays with National Soccer Club at the ECNL level, leading goal scorer last year, leads this team again this year. 22 goals and 6 assists for Julian Gibbs. You want to watch, keep an eye on him in this game or any other game that Lutheran North plays this season, but he doesn't do it alone. Matteo Vitali, 9 goals, 9 assists. Luca Gibbs, his younger brother, 4 goals and 3 assists. And after that, they have incredible balance. I talked to Coach Anthony Valley on the phone earlier this morning, and he talked about there is a ton of players who have goals and assists on this team, very capable of finishing or setting up teammates. So you watch for the balance for Lutheran North in this game, and one of the reasons why they're 13-1-1 at this point of the 2024 campaign.
Well, and it's one of those fascinating things about the game of soccer, too, right? Especially at the high school levels. You have a lot of these guys that are playing for clubs, academies. They can't necessarily play for their high school team. You can't double up the way that you can maybe sometimes in other sports because there are written contracts. There are agreements that you won't do that. But I wonder, and I don't know if you have any sort of concrete answer to this, but you've seen it a lot in your years. Here's a good turnover in a good spot. Cross in towards goal, and it's picked up there Brzezinski, a little bit of help that time from his defense. Or rather, Joel Neary. Heider Durlan that time kicking it up towards him as it spins into his hands, throwing for Lutheran North. So we're just across 7 minutes into this first half, but there's kind of a level of convincing to get some of those guys to come back and play at the high school level. What my question is what goes behind that decision to make the switch and come back and play? Because I guess the one team that comes to my mind, and it was someone that you and I always chatted about, before I did a couple of their games, is Rochester Adams. I mean, they got an entire slew of guys back. They're in the top 3 in Division I. They're primed to make a state championship run. Like, what goes into that decision to come back and play high school ball?
And I talked to a couple of those kids here about a week and a half ago. I got a story I'm going to run this weekend on our website, MichiganSoccerNetwork.com. But they were already a good team. They had a Division I level goalkeeper, another defender was getting some D1 and D2 looks, some sophomores that will play college soccer down the road. But you had a ton of MLS Next kids in that building. One of the players started talking to some other ones at different clubs, whether it be Vardar, whether it be Michigan Wolves, the Michigan Jags, about coming out as a senior year. 3 of those players committed in the spring to do it. 2 other players joined the roster after tryouts. They opted to leave their I think they both play with the Vardar Academy. And the main theme was they have not played together because they've been tied up in high-level MLS Next clubs or other high-level clubs around the Detroit area. They wanted one season together. They also wanted the band together to try to win a state championship. They saw their school win the girls' soccer state title in Division I last spring. They had older brothers or cousins or friends who won a state championship in boys' soccer in 2022 in front of thousands of friends. That's why they wanted to come back. It's just 10 to 11 weeks, a chance to make memories that they wouldn't have had to be able to make without spending one season suiting up for their high school. So you're seeing a trend the last 3 school years where seniors are coming out, and it's the same theme. They want the experience, just one season to play with their friends and classmates, one chance to maybe win a conference or a district championship or even more, win a regional, get to the Final Four, play in that state title game, maybe hoist that trophy on the most important day of the season. Those players, they're traveling around the country all year round.
Toss into the box. Header on net. Good save. So Joel Neary has been busy in this first half. That time he had to save pretty tricky header on net, but able to keep it a scoreless tie as we go 10 minutes into this first half. Adams is a fascinating case study, though, but just kind of another example of another team that's been able to bring back a couple of players from the academy to help make that push towards a state title. And the other thing about winning a state championship, and I've been fortunate enough to be on a couple, back when I was in my high school days, way, way long ago, but it's kind of an addicting feeling. Like, once you do it once, you definitely want to go back and do it again. And I think Adams is kind of in that process right now of trying to establish themselves as the program in Division I.
And they also had 17 seniors, so
it
draws some synergy. Back in 1999, Adams was always a really good team in the 80s and 90s. They won their very first district championship in 99, ended up winning the state title. 18 seniors. They had so many Division I, Division II, Division III, and NAIA players on that roster. I can't even count that high. That was a stacked team. In today's era, I bring that up because you don't necessarily see that many Division I players on a roster anymore because of the commitments of MLS Next, or you get called to take up residency at an MLS youth club out of state. This year, it's a little bit of an exception where there are some teams out there who have, 2, 3, 4, 5 players that have came back from MLS Next, and they want that moment of glory at the end of the season. There's no guarantees. There's a lot of very good teams out there in each of the 4 divisions. You look at Division I and Division II, there are so many teams out there. They all have high-level club players up and down the roster, so there is absolutely no guarantees that Rochester Adams or any other state powerhouse will win a state championship. Just the pieces of the puzzle are there because those players made a commitment to come back for just one season and play for their high school.
I remember Giovanni Moscheri on his last broadcast was talking about, quote, the beautiful game of soccer, and one of the things that makes it as such is the parity that you see oftentimes, especially at this level. But you see Lutheran North trying to follow that similar blueprint to Rochester Adams. Obviously not to the same extent with as many players, but bringing some of those players back from the academies, but they haven't made it out of district since the 2020 shortened season. So starting to turn heads and build more confidence with what they're doing this year. Again, on the outside looking in that top 5 right now in Division III. And obviously every team makes it to the finals. What do we have here? We might have a card coming up when we do. Our first yellow card just passed 12 minutes, 12:37. So very quick for that one to come out. That's Gavin Trent, the sophomore for St. Francis. So he will be sent off the pitch on a slide tackle.
Looks like there's 5 sophomores for Toledo St. Francis East Sal.
So a set piece here at the 20. It'll be Matteo Vitali. We'll try to put the Mustangs on in front here in this first half. Vitali bends one and punched away. Neary getting out there and giving it a two-handed double fist bump out of bounds.
The ball is kind of tailing away from the goal, but Neary punches it away from, because you never know, that ball could deflect off a defender or a player makes a run on the backside, heads the ball back into the goal mouth, a scrum happens, and Luther North could tuck it into the back of the net. So you need to be able to make certain you get that ball out of harm's way as quick as possible.
Intervening on the defensive end that time along that back line, which is going to be so important for this team if they want to win this one here today. That was Owen Little on the defensive end for St. Francis. Roll the ball out back into play, about 15 minutes into half number 1. Giving you a little recap, look back at our Cardinal Championship game a little bit earlier. Cristo Rey, Detroit Cristo Rey, able to finish off a 2-0 shutout in that game over Royal Oak Shrine, and not just in a big game for them, but also a big game on the road here at Royal Oak High School. So it all kind of adds up at the end of the day. This one's sauced in the defensive territory this time. Brzezinski, who hasn't had to work all that hard, falls on top of this one as he gets ready to boot it back towards midfield. What a great ball game that was. And, you know, Dan, you and I talked about it. Cristo Rey kind of emerging as one of those teams in Division IV to definitely look out for. A school that really didn't open all that long ago, but now starting to find their footing in the game of soccer, and they put that on full display in that first game.
Oak Shrine came in, even though they're a little bit short-staffed today in terms of a couple players out sick. They were still the number 2 team in Division IV. And you look at Division IV as a whole, obviously the smaller school, it's not as deep in terms of teams you can look at and say that team has a great chance of getting to a Final Four, maybe playing in that state final. But you look at Lansing Christian, you look at Leland, you look at Muskegon, Western Michigan Christian. Those 2-3 teams are very good. Detroit Cristo Rey, proving they just knocked off number 2 Royal Oak Shrine, that they should be in that discussion. They had never been very deep into the tournament. The school is less than 20 years old, but they are a very, very talented team that you could pick as your potential dark horse, and maybe just a team that will challenge for a state title here in 2024.
Here's a set piece just outside the 20. Fired towards the net. Lutheran North able to clear the zone, at least just for a moment. Now another one lofted that direction. Brzezinski, pretty easy, getting underneath this pop fly. Pulls it in and gets ready to kick it away as we bleed past 15 minutes into this first half. Joshua Brennan on one of those attempts that we just saw a moment ago. He is the name to pay attention to on the St. Francis team. This feed too strong and out of bounds down in the new Lutheran North part of the field. But a senior on this team, 11 goals so far on the year. He's leading the way and comfortably leading the way on this team.
The North making a couple quick subs here, 17th minute. Coach Andy Vanny talked about, you know, they're somewhat of a younger team in terms of some of their starters and bench players, but they are very experienced in terms of club soccer, but they also can go much further than just 11 deep on this team. They can put players in and out of the game without a huge drop-off, and that's another reason why you look at state-ranked teams in all 4 divisions. It's always not about your star power or your starting 11. It's about later in the game against a quality opponent making a deep run. Everyone's going to have injuries. It's your depth. Do you have enough players 12, 13, 14, 15, even 16, 17 deep that can step in the game at a moment's notice, provide some skill, provide maybe a goal, provide something that other teams might not be as deep, that they can't go into that bench to get production.
Across from way outside the box, misses the target, and scoots its way out of bounds, back behind the net for a goal kick upcoming. Here for Przinski.
Not a ton of chances so far as we're in the 18th minute. 2-1 in shots in favor of Lutheran North, and 1-1 aside in terms of shots on target. So not a ton of chances so far. Both teams are still in there kind of feeling each other out, see what they have. These 2 teams have never played before in boys soccer. This is their first meeting overall.
Przinski forgot to tie his shoe.
2 different states, 2 different teams have never been in a Catholic final, so there's a lot of newness going on in terms of this particular matchup. These teams don't necessarily know what each other has. I mean, obviously, games are broadcasted in Michigan and Ohio. You can go on and maybe watch a video of a team per se, but in terms of actually being on the battlefield, so to speak, against that particular side, this is the first time these 2 teams have ever faced in boys soccer.
You know, it's interesting. It kind of introduces another unique twist to high school athletics in this area. It's kind of creating kind of a Toledo v. Detroit rivalry a little bit. It's kind of forcing some of these high schools in the Detroit area to step out and play some of those powerhouses in the Toledo area. And it's also good to find out exactly what you're made of when you have to step out of Michigan and play teams in Ohio and play teams in Illinois and all these other places. It really kind of puts into perspective, yeah, you might be a powerhouse around here, but you got to figure it out on the other side. Here's a drive towards the net in a diving stop. Julian Gibbs nearly gave the Mustangs a 1-0 lead. Around here, it was Joel Neary. Figure it out on the other side. Around here, but you got to figure it out on the other side. Getting the fingertips to save that one from going in. Draped in the purple here today, gives a corner kick here for Lutheran North. Do they play it short? They do. Looking for a one-time opportunity. Instead, it sputters its way out of bounds here for Neary, who also needs his shoes tied. What's going on, guys?
You know, we're talking about, you know, playing teams out of state. So Michigan's very unique. You look at the lower and upper peninsula. So teams in the Detroit area, it's common, even in the Jackson or Lansing area, they might go into northern Ohio. They might go into northern Indiana. In the southwestern Michigan, teams are out there really close to the Indiana borderline. They'll play teams in Indiana for non-league games in various sports. You go up the Upper Peninsula, especially in that western half of the UP, you're so far away from the bridge, let alone the Lower Peninsula or Lansing, Detroit, Saginaw, Flint, Grand Rapids, all the major cities in the Lower Peninsula. A lot of their games are against teams that are in Wisconsin.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that. I remember Menominee always being one of those teams.
Football power, yeah.
Big time.
They've been down to Ford Field of the Silverdome before.
They're all Packers fans, though, so I don't know how that works out.
I had a pleasure of talking just this past weekend with 3 Upper Peninsula soccer coaches, with Houghton, Marquette, and Kingsford. Kingsford ranked in the top 10 of Division 3 all season.
What do we have here? Oh, no whistle sounds. Not to interrupt you. It looked like St. Francis might have gotten away with one.
I thought that might have been called a PK. The referee says play on.
Armando Ayala Leal was the one that tugged on the jersey a little bit. I believe that was Gibbs, the one that he pulled down to the turf. Either Gibbs or Marcus Brajak. But either way, maybe getting away with a little bit too much. Nonetheless, they're going to let him play here in this first half as we cross 20 minutes. But anyways, as you were saying about the UP coaches.
Yeah, well, we talked about it's a disadvantage, especially soccer, because you're so far away from it, the rest of the state. You know, you don't want to just keep playing teams in the UPs, but
right.
If you're Houghton, if you're Kingsford, Iron Mountain, even Ironwood doesn't have a team anymore, but they did 2 years ago. They've had some lower numbers. It's almost impossible for some of those schools to come down to the Lower Peninsula with regularity.
Right.
You might be able to get into a weekend tournament or play a team just south of the bridge early in the campaign. Kingsford was able to play Leland and Elk Rapids, so Leland's #1 in Division 4, and Elk Rapids, you know, is always a good team in Division 3. Kingsford knocked off Elk Rapids in a thriller in a district semifinal last year, but they play a ton of Wisconsin teams in the non-conference because it's much easier for those student athletes to go into Wisconsin for a high school game. The most of them play club down in Indiana. They're part of the Olympic developmental program system in Wisconsin. It's just south of the border. You can get to Madison, Green Bay, and Milwaukee.
Gibbs off his left foot.
A lot quicker than would it be just to get over the Mackinac Bridge in the Lower Peninsula.
Can't get a good shot off. Hits a couple of bodies in front. St. Francis tries to flip the field. It feels like we've been tilted one direction for the majority of this first half.
Luther North 4-1 shots advantage here. 18 minutes and change left.
Oh, physical play. My guess is that one might result in a foul and maybe a set piece, or not. They won't call this one. Just a stern talking to. That's again Armando Ayala Leal. He's just trying to play a physical brand of defense to keep Lutheran North out of some good spots, some good sportsmanship there.
That's Luca Gibbs, the freshman forward out there on the wing, who took a nice hit to his left thigh area. He's back up, tried to back into the box, but free kick about 5 yards out on the right side, so this could be a great chance for Luther North coming up here in just a couple seconds.
Set piece upcoming for the team in black. Rainbowed into the box. And a header that makes this one float away, out back towards the 15.
St. Francis de Sales able to clear that ball out of harm's way in a hurry. Get down to the other end of the field with the counterattack.
Trying to force the issue. Przinski playing well off the line, dives down, gets that one. Now looks to send it the other direction as we approach just 15 minutes to go here in this first half. Kind of following the same game plan as the first game. That one ended in a scoreless tie in the first half, and then immediately in half number 2, we saw Cristo Ray break out offensively. Could we see this first half also end in a scoreless tie? Still a little bit of time left to go. But last story about, you're talking about the UP and soccer up there. Last story about those guys. I remember they came all the way down to Grand Rapids to play a game once. And this is just to go show how tough these kids are. They brought a yellow school bus all the way from Menominee, Michigan to Grand Rapids, Michigan. In pads, by the way.
Yeah.
No Greyhounds, no princess and prince treatment. Get on the yellow school bus and let's make this drive that I don't even know how long it was. It had to be over 10 hours all the way from Menominee, Michigan, which is on the end of the UP, all the way around to Grand Rapids. A lot of those kids are just built different up there in the UP.
But for them, it's a treat to be able to come downstate.
Oh,
they
absolutely.
don't necessarily get a lot of chances. It is quite a hike. If you look at the map of Michigan, on that far western tier where Ironwood, Michigan is, the Ironwood and Bessemer and Wakefield, you get to Ironwood, you're literally, if you look directly south, you're literally above the eastern tip of Iowa.
Yeah.
Just to give you an idea how far west you are, you're still part of Michigan. So schools in every sport are at a slight disadvantage in terms of if they want to come down to Lower Peninsula and go to the big suburban markets to play a game. It is a huge travel.
Right.
Some of those schools are willing to do it. Marquette has been known to do it in a lot of sports. That is the biggest school in the Upper Peninsula, but some of those schools are so far away, they may not have the budget even to come down to the Lower Peninsula in a lot of sports. It is a disadvantage. So you will see those teams go to Wisconsin for big non-league games before they go down Lower Peninsula, but some schools in different sports will come down to the LP here for games. And you do see teams, you love going to like high school football finals at the Pontiac Silverdome and now Ford Field. you'll have a pair of like UP schools in the Final Four or in the finals. They're coming in. Every car has those signs: UP Power, UP Power.
Yeah.
It's Lakeland and Hubel. It's Menominee. They're in the football finals. Whatever the case is, it's a big deal for those schools to come down. I was up in Munising last July last year. I'm talking to a bartender at a restaurant in downtown Munising, because Munising was your Division IV state champs in 2023 in boys basketball. She said the whole town came down for a couple of days. They made it a vacation.
Yep.
It was a huge deal that they got a chance not to be able to put together a very good team to go down to the state Final Four. They played in the state finals. They won it at the Breslin Center in East Lansing on the campus of Michigan State University. But it was a huge deal for that town. Now you can understand, for any team that makes a run deep in the tournament from the Upper Peninsula, it is a very, very special thing, because the way Michigan's shaped with the Upper and Lower Peninsula, all that body of water separating the two peninsulas, it is a huge long bus ride or car ride to even come down to the Lower Peninsula, let alone get to the Final Four in Detroit, Lansing area, or Grand Rapids, whatever sport takes them the road down to that destination for a high school state tournament.
The Yoopers versus the Trolls. It's a tale as old as time. Little foul on the throw-in here. We'll give the ball back to St. Francis. The Knights take over possession into the 26th minute, about to be in the 27th minute here of half number one. But you're right. They absolutely do take pride in being able to not only play teams from down here, but beat teams from down here.
And we could see it. Luther North's a very tough district. They are capable of getting to the Final Four in boys soccer. They are also with Pontiac Notre Dame Prep and Detroit Country. They are both having very good seasons as well. Unfortunately, only one of those three teams will win a district championship this year. All three of those teams are worthy of Final Four appearance. Up in that UP, Kingsford has put together quite a juggernaut. That is a very talented team. I've talked to a lot of coaches who have seen them play. They do have all the tools to make a deep run in the state tournament. Again, nothing is for certain. It is high school sports. You can't guarantee anything. I'm just saying, potentially, you look at the brackets, the districts, the regionals in the sport of boys soccer, and you do look at certain schools like that. School has the best chance.
St. Francis with a cross. Oh, and nearly a one-time chance. Just a touch too strong. Ryan Bossenbrook, the senior, was the one along the far post, couldn't quite get to it.
Just a little unlucky, a little bit of pace on that cross, just sneaks through that goal mouth area. Just a little bit too much pace on to be able to get a foot on it, but St. Francis de Sales only had one shot on target in the first half. That was probably their best chance since the early minutes, just unable to get a foot on that cross.
Still have a chance to generate something here. Jacob Neary, I'm assuming the brother of our goaltender in this one.
We're going to do a show this weekend. Besides our state ranking show for the Michigan High School Soccer Coach Association, which we've had the pleasure of doing since Labor Day weekend of 2022, we are also going to pre-record a state preview show. What we'll do is we'll take a look at each of the brackets. So there's 16 different districts in the MHSAA tournament in each of the 4 divisions. 64 total districts. We'll take a look at some of the pairings. As a staff, maybe we'll project the winner. Sometimes we'll be right. Sometimes we'll be far off. You never know what kind of upsets are happening. It's strange. In any sport, not just soccer, but most upsets have a tendency to happen in that district semifinal or pre-district game. I've seen it time and time again in so many different sports, not just soccer. Now, this is the first time in high school soccer history in the state of Michigan where entire districts are seeded. So most districts have between 6 and 8 schools. There are a couple that have 5, especially up north, where maybe a team school dropped their program, not enough numbers, or are not entering the state tournament. But a lot of these districts will have 8 schools, especially in Division I and Division II. And there's so many good teams in those districts, you just never know what's going to happen.
St. Francis trying to generate something as we bleed our way inside of 10 minutes. They have numbers the other way. Dribbled in front and a diving stop. William Przinski not afraid of getting dirty in this one here today. He's hit the deck a couple of times. Scoops that one up. Rugby punts it as hard as he can back the other direction as it floats its way to the 50-yard line.
2 saves on the night for Rosinski. He's been active. He came off his line to corral a couple of crosses into the box. His counterpart, Joel Neary, sophomore from Toledo St. Francis de Sales.
Talked about Mike Kern, their head coach. Actually graduated from St. Francis once upon a time. Played soccer there, and then immediately after that actually went on to go play professionally. And he played a little bit overseas, played in the United States, also played in Spain. Earned a Bachelor's of Science degree in economics, minored in sports management at Defiance College, and then now has been working, obviously, at the high school level with St. Francis over in Ohio. But it's a really valuable thing to have a coach who's played at the professional level and has played overseas, too, and not just anywhere overseas, in Spain. I mean, you talk about some of the big countries, that represent this sport. Argentina is one of them that comes to mind, but a lot of the European countries, but Spain is also one of the big ones that comes to mind. And just being surrounded by all of that talent, you get a different sense for the culture of the game and maybe how the game should look like and should be played as the United States continues to try to adopt more of that European influence in the game of soccer here on home territory.
When you look across the state of Michigan, there are quite a few foreign-born coaches at the high school, collegiate, and the club level. These kids are very well trained. You've seen it emerge into over 230 clubs in Michigan. You have a ton of high-level clubs, Michigan and Wolves, VAR, Michigan Jag, Midwest United, the Nationals, and so on down the list, TKO, the Kalamazoo Kingdom. There's so many clubs that have done so well on the club level. And that club tier, it keeps expanding. There's more and more tiers of club almost every decade. Just, even in the last 5 to 10 years, several tiers been added. There's so many more kids playing soccer. They're being well coached. So when they get to a high-level club, when they get to a varsity level, when they get to a college roster, they are very well coached. And we're seeing that, and you're still seeing a lot of Spanish, English-born coaches that are over here coaching different levels of the soccer pyramid, kind of lending their expertise. A lot of these players were former professionals around the globe.
Throw in here for St. Francis, 32nd minute in this first half. It's interesting, to that point, as we get a couple of substitutions here on both ends for St. Francis as well as Lutheran North in these final minutes of half number 1. By the way, coming up after the first half, we'll take a look back at how everything shook out from half number 1. Right now looking like it might end in a 0-0 tie. Don't quote me on that, though. Still not done quite yet here in this first half. But I was talking to the head coach, as mentioned, in Caledonia High School over on the west side, and is a team that, I do some work for, but their head coach, TJ Afachirochi, for their soccer team, he said, he came over from Nigeria. He played at Davenport University, actually won a national championship there at the NAI level at that time. He said that the biggest area of growth in his mind, at least from being in the United States in the limited time that he has been at the youth level, has been at the younger levels. Like the group of kids that we see off to our right here. That's been the level where it's been growing the most. Gibbs handling this one along the left side, trying to generate some space as this one rolls out of bounds. And I believe a throw in here for St. Francis as we approach the 34th minute. But that's kind of been the baseline where it's all started is with the younger kids.
And you mentioned Caledonia, so we ran earlier this past month, we ran a list of 60 field players and I believe 6 goalies, and we have a huge chart coming out here in a couple of days just talking about players around the state that shined last year, have been shining this year. But the point I'm making is Caledonia has a player, Drew Diebold. He spent 3 years with Midwest United MLS Next Academy. Last year as a junior, he took up residency in Columbus, Ohio, had a 1 year playing with Columbus Crew's MLS Next team. One of his teammates plays for Rochester Adams right now. They're one of the top teams in Division I. Those players came back. That is a huge commitment to take 1, 2, 3 years and take up residency, living with the host family, going to a regular high school there, and then training 4 or 5 days a week, playing on the weekends, traveling across the country with MLS Next team.
It's like you're a pro already.
Yeah,
really, in a lot of ways.
There's some players that they're earmarking as pro.
Yeah.
That's kind of one of the reasons why they've done this to a grand scale across the country. Club soccer just keeps getting better and better by the decade. But some of these players, it is a huge commitment. They do want to come back, live with their parents. They want to, play club or play high school in their hometown or wherever they attend high school.
Here's a good feed. trying to maneuver his way through the defensive back. Gavin Trent now gets upended. Whistle sounds. I don't know, Dan, was that one outside the box?
Yeah, it looked like it was
Looks
about
like
a
just
yard out, yeah.
Just outside the box. Joshua Brennan, most dangerous leg on this team. He's got 11 goals on the year, and I think Brzezinski is sensing that. Here's you see him direct traffic along that near post. He can bend it with the best of them, and here inside the 10-yard line, the senior will look to get goal number 1.
Try to bend this around the wall, maybe sneak it into the near post. You want to bend it into the 6 and hopefully get a header on the ball.
Towards the far post, a header. Couple of them. Can't find anything on goal, though. Drew Puckett was the one on the second attempt, cleared away. So we're inside of 4 minutes now.
Home Lutheran North definitely escapes harm's way on that set piece. You never know how many of those you're going to get throughout the course of the game. We talked about in game 1, Royal Shrine lost 2-0 Detroit Crystal Ray, but they had 2 great set-piece opportunities, less than a yard outside the box, one on the right side, one dead on to the center of the goal. Unable to get any shot on target in that game. It came back and haunted them in the second half because they only had 1 shot the whole second half, and that was well wide left of target, and it cost them dearly. So when you get in a tight match like this, if you have a set piece, you need to get something off.
Turnover, shot on, and a save, rebound, that one's in. Second chance, and it finds the net for Gavin Trent. Great pursuit of the ball, and he breaks our scoreless tie inside of 4 minutes until half.
Just talked about not wasting opportunities. Shot from distance, the ball comes back out. St. Francis de Sales able to tuck that in close range. Great opportunity. They finish. They take that 1-0 advantage. Gavin Trent, the sophomore forward from...
Oh, now the concern becomes Brzezinski, who's still down on the turf. You saw him really slow to get up after that play. What an outstanding initial save on that one. Had to go up and get it. Unfortunately, his defense not in a good position to come back and assist him on that second try.
Trying to see who took that initial shot that was from distance on the left side. I couldn't really read the jersey number, but...
I believe that was Lucas Mossing. So I believe Mossing was on the initial attempt. Looks like they might be running him through some protocol here. So there's Mossing, initial save. Just an unbelievable pursuit, and there you see it. It looked like Brzezinski might have taken a shot to the head or shoulder area as he was going to dive for that second attempt.
I've talked about this in every broadcast I've been a part of. When you have a little bit of real estate, even from distance, don't be bashful to uncork a shot from distance. That initial shot was close to 30 yards out. That was a rope right at the goalkeeper. William Brzezinski makes the save. That ball grooms out in the middle of the box. And Gavin Trent there at the doorstep to tap it home.
Well, luckily Brzezinski back to his feet and continuing this game. You saw the trainer rather doing the finger in front of your face and follow it with your eyes and your eyes only. Kind of running him through those tests in net just to make sure that he's still thinking straight and good to go. Unfortunately, he is, but you know how dangerous of a position that can be. Sometimes you got to sacrifice the body and maybe the brain a little bit too. Took a little bit of a deflection that time. He's okay. He's back to his feet. But, yeah, what a start for St. Francis. And it looked like in the beginning of this game that it was Lutheran North who was applying all the pressure, and then all of a sudden St. Francis, great footwork, good passing, and a good job pursuing a shot on net. And you're right, Dan. I mean, it's sometimes it's those deflections. As long as you send it on and you have guys who are aggressively pursuing it, you're going to get results like that. And it was Gavin Trent, the sophomore, right now who gets the 1-0 edge here for the Knights in this one.
Always follow up a shot. Always be willing to take shots from distance. You never know, a deflection could happen. In that case, the goalkeeper makes a great save. The ball comes back out.
Now another shot, and that one gets in. Oh, my. In a flash. Joshua Brennan adds number 12. And the goal-scoring leader leads the way to a 2-0 lead. With just 2 minutes left to go in this first half. Wow. Off a good feed, tips it back to himself and feeds it through 2 different defenders. A little top shelf action.
What a brilliant strike. He 19 yards out, just a yard outside the box. He collects that ball, turns, doesn't hesitate, fires it up in the upper 90. So on 2 consecutive shots, St. Francis de Sales 2-0 advantage here late in the first half.
In hockey, they call that a bottle shot. And what that means is that the Gatorade bottle is probably in half because it hit the very top of the goal. Well, that was a fastball. And if you want to get a look at just how strong that leg of Joshua Brennan is, that's a clear example of it right there. Hey, by the way, it's Knights up to Mustangs with the team. Somehow, man, Lutheran North maybe trying to steal one back here. Here's Gibbs.
Lutheran North does have a ton of offensive firepower, so they'll look to their forwards and midfielders to try to create a little bit of a chance here before the break. It's only the 3rd time this season Macomb Lutheran North has given up 2 goals in a contest. They did give up 4 against Orchard Lake St. Mary's earlier in the year. That was their only loss of the season, only loss in the Catholic High School League AA division play. So they're a team that doesn't concede a ton of goals. They score a lot on the offensive end, but they're down 2-0. So it's going to be a test of their brain power, the test of the metal, so to speak, in the second half about Lutheran North, trying to create some better chances. They've had a few in the first half, 4 attempts, 2 on frame, no corner kicks. So they had a lot of the possession in the first about 30 minutes of this game. Let their guard down a little bit, and the Knights of Toledo, St. Francis de Sales scores on 2 consecutive shots. Take that 2-0 advantage here in the final seconds of the first half.
And sometimes that's all it takes. Letting your guard down for just a moment. Final seconds bleed away. And some late offense in this first half launches St. Francis out in front. A goal in the 36th minute by Gavin Trent. And then in a flash, if you blinked, you might have missed it. Joshua Brennan turning around and netting one top shelf to make it 2-0 in favor of the Knights going into halftime. We'll take a step aside. St. Francis kind of holding their own here in the first half, looking to finish it out and cruise to a victory, maybe get Catholic League Championship number 1 when we come back. It is halftime here on MSN. Be back in just a moment here on the Michigan Soccer Network.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom.
On the diamond.
In the pool. On the field.
Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah! Be great. Participate!
looking to take your game to the next level? Did you know that MSN is now offering player recruitment videos? Our packages include a player profile where you show your preferred positions, the club, the league, or school that you play in, your current coach contact information, and more. The highlight videos could be self-submitted, 15 to 30 clips that will be put into a 3 to 7 minute long video. Video review of your Huddle, VO, or other platforms that you might have video on, as well as for an additional charge, MSN can come out and film games for you to create those clips. Our coach evaluation process, which is also an additional charge, where we have college coaches from various levels across the United States that will review your game film and provide feedback on how to improve that film, as well as also evaluating your play and what you can improve on. To learn more about our packages and what we offer, head over to the MichiganSoccerNetwork.com. Remember, your journey starts with a click. The following is a presentation of the Michigan Soccer Network. Are you looking to take your game to the next level? Did you know that MSN is now offering player recruitment videos? Our packages include a player profile where you show your preferred positions, the club, the league, or school that you play in, your current coach contact information, and more. The highlight videos could be self-submitted, 15 to 30 clips that will be put into a 3 to 7 minute long video. Video review of your Huddle, VO, or other platforms that you might have video on, as well as for an additional charge, MSN can come out and film games for you to create those clips. Our coach evaluation process, which is also an additional charge, where we have college coaches from various levels across the United States that will review your game film and provide feedback on how to improve that film, as well as also evaluating your play and what you can improve on. To learn more about our packages and what we offer, head over to the MichiganSoccerNetwork.com. Remember, your journey starts with a click.
I'm a husband. I'm a father.
I'm a sister.
I'm a son. I'm a brother.
I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm a referee.
I'm a referee.
I am a referee.
I'm a referee.
Granite City Food and Brewery has 2 Michigan locations in Troy and Northville. Serves made-from-scratch food, brews in-house beer, and even has brunch every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. To learn more about their daily specials or to book a private party, visit gcfb.com. Make sure you head over to Granite City in Northville at the corner of 7 Mile and Haggerty, or the Troy location at 16 Mile and I-75.
He'll cut it back on his left foot, and that goes in! Towards the 6, a one-time shot, and it's 2. Now one with Etheridge, what a save! One-time shot! My goodness! One finds his way to the back. Banger. He
life, things aren't scripted.
If you're an athlete, we need people like you and translate those skills to officiating.
You can get a lot out of it.
It happens in every town, in every game.
We never have a perfect game, but the rewards always outweigh the negativities.
And we are back live on MSN halftime here between the Knights and the Mustangs, the Bishop Championship. And it was 2 late goals from St. Francis, the team from OHIO. A goal in the 36th minute and a goal in the 38th minute from Gavin Trent and Joshua Brennan, who gets his team leading 12th. And here's a look back at those 2 goals. Here's number 1. Good initial save. It was Trent charging in on the offensive end, puts it in with the right foot. That felt like a big momentum booster, but how about this one? Brennan, in the midst of 3 different defenders in black uniforms, somehow able to get it back on his right foot, and then a beeline to the top of the net, a cruise missile that finds its target and makes it a 2-0 lead in favor of St. Francis. They always talk about closing strong, and that's the best way to close out a half, the way that St. Francis was able to get that done.
And it was an even first half. I mean, St. Francis de Sales, 5-4 in total shots, 5-2 on frame. No corner kicks, surprisingly, for either side in that first half. Joel Neer with 2 saves, Michael Brzezinski with 3 saves from home Lutheran North. So very close game, 2-0 on that scoreboard. Lutheran North did control a lot of the possession the first 30 minutes, but as you talked about closing that first half, Toledo St. Francis de Sales, the Knights, 2 late goals. Take that 2-0 advantage here in the second half.
Maybe we'll see if Lutheran North can get a quick one here in half number 2. That 2-0 lead, not unobtainable, but certainly not as comfortable as being down 1-0. So trying to quickly turn that around. You see Gibbs charging in to the offensive territory, trying to make something happen, and that might be the key here. Try to force St. Francis into making a couple of key mistakes here in the second half to try and get yourself back into it.
You look at Gibbs up top, number 9, the sophomore. Not just a great athlete, great finisher, extremely quick. You can see how quickly he can close down those passing lanes, chasing a pass.
And a yellow card upcoming. Oh, that's Jace Van Hevel. Made Joshua Brennan do a little bit of a cartwheel there, and an uncomfortable looking fall. It looked like might have hit his head on the landing, so they got the trainers out there to check on him. Just looks like maybe got the wind knocked out of him a little bit. It's back to the seat of his pants here, just 47 seconds into the second half. And obviously a key piece you don't want to miss. You know, we talked about how this is a championship game, so this matters for both of these 2 teams. But this isn't the end of the line. You still have the playoffs looming. So this might be decision time here on the side of St. Francis and their head coach and Mike Kern, who we were talking about in that first half, to decide whether or not he wants to keep Brennan in this game. There's, you see, still laboring a little bit, still hands on knees. You're going to have him take the set piece, and a 3rd goal would be huge.
You look at the upcoming state tournaments, because Ohio starts a week later in terms of their tournament versus Michigan. But
Brennan towards net. Near post, cleared away here by Royal Oak.
St. Francis de Sales 9-1-2 overall, and they finished 5-1 in the Central Division of the Catholic High School League. So there's a team looking to win a district championship down in Ohio in the Ohio High School Athletic Association state tournament. They're a slightly bigger school than Lutheran North, a Division III school in Michigan, St. Francis de Sales, a Division II size school in the Toledo, Ohio area. Both these teams would love to win continue their success into the state tournament. Coleman Lutheran North, unfortunately, we talked about that in the pregame. They're with Detroit Country Day, one of the most storied programs in state history, and Pontiac Northern Prep has been ranked in that top 3 all season. Northern Prep back in the #1 spot. Lutheran North beat Detroit Country Day 1-0 early in August at the finals of the Detroit Country Day Paul Bartoshuk Invitational. That's a very good preseason tournament. A lot of quality sides go to that each and every year.
Attempted shot on, deflected by a white jersey in front, but quickly taken back here by Lutheran North. It is a little bizarre, as you were talking about earlier. No corner kicks for either of these two teams to this point. It has been a clean game for the most part up to this point. A couple of cards already. But it's a matchup between two schools that, St. Francis has been there before. They've had a lot of success in their area in Toledo, obviously new to the Detroit side of things, but Lutheran North on the other side still trying to figure it out, still trying to get to that level. And again, even with a loss here today, my guess is wouldn't drop out of that top 15 and would still be in a really good spot come playoffs.
They're still a very good team. Yeah. Again, they're playing a bigger school. Lutheran North has played a very challenging schedule overall as well. You look at that, they're 13-1-1 going into the year. They beat Country Day 1-0. Country Day turned around and beat Pontiac Northern Prep 2-0 here a couple weeks ago. So 3 teams are in the same district. They played each other. But at this point of the season, you have to look at the body of work when you're ranking teams. Just because a team takes a loss or a tie in a league tournament or a key league game late in the season doesn't necessarily have a huge impact on where that school should be ranked. Now, if you went into a season, a week.
Here's Brennan on the set piece very quickly. Good spot for this one. Brennan blasts it on net and a save. William Przinski protecting the post to his right. Full extension. And a critical save in a critical spot. Good job by Brennan curling this ball around the defensive line in front of him, but look at this reaction from Przinski.
He was trying to tuck that in the upper 90.
Back on goal, Przinski gets it. He'll put it down and kick this one away.
That was the first corner kick of the match. Przinski was there to smother that ball in the middle of the box.
It's interesting. You look at the score right now with it being 2-0. That's not necessarily indicative of the night he's had in goal, Przinski. He's made a lot of great saves already in this one. I guess in some instances his defense letting him down, and that's one of the things that they've been talking about a lot with this team, with this Lutheran North squad. Anthony Vanee, mentioning how this back line has been really instrumental in this team's success. It's really what has helped carry them to this point. Obviously, you talk about Przinski anchoring this team in net really since his freshman year. They've just had a couple of key breakdowns, and that's the thing about this sport, Dan, and it's the reason why anybody can win on any given day. Just a couple of defensive breakdowns. All of a sudden, a 2-0 lead in the second half. That is a tall mountain to climb with so much field in front of you.
Yeah, I've seen it done. I've been to games where a team is up 3-0 in the half. They turn around and concede a multiple of goals to the opposition, lose 4-3. It's happened. It will happen again. If not this tournament, maybe in the next couple of years, where you'll see a team have a huge lead, just have a monumental collapse in the second half or overtime of a huge state tournament game. But this is a 2-0. From a former soccer player like myself, I started playing in the late 70s. I grew up playing high school and club in the Metro Detroit area. The mentality of trying to protect a 1- and 2-goal lead is not as simple as people think. All it takes is one strike by the opposition to tie a game up or cut it to 2-1. That whole momentum switches, especially in a conference or state tournament setting where, there's so much emotion involved.
Possession on top. This one sent on. Przinski, another save. As you were saying, though, Dan.
Yeah, there's just so much emotion, especially if you get in the state tournament. That win-and-go-home feeling when both teams might have a ton of seniors. This is the last game for some of them. They don't know which team's going to win or lose. there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of emotion. Anything can happen. You throw the weather in there, maybe some rain, maybe some stiff wind, maybe even some snow. We are in Michigan, so you never know what you're going to get. We saw some showers here today in Game 1 with Royal Oak Shrine and Detroit Crystal Ray. A little bit of factor in that first half. The rain stopped in the second half. But all those ingredients, all those factors can weigh in an emotionally filled game, and that's what the state tournament will provide.
Ask and you shall receive. Our first corner of the game, Brennan spins one towards net. Now a shot on top. Brzezinski sliding to his left like a hockey goaltender with the blockers. Gets in front of that one and now kicks it back out towards midfield.
So third save of the second half, 6 overall for Michael Brzezinski, and 3-0 shot advantage here for the Knights of Toledo St. Francis de Sales in the second half. Lutheran North, 8 minutes into the second half, unable to generate any offense so far in the second half. They did have 4 shot attempts and 2 on target over the first 40 minutes of play. They're a very highly skilled, very talented offensive team, just unable to really get much going in this contest. But all it will take is one set piece, maybe a cross into the box, a header finds his way in the back of the net. The North can find a way back into this game, but as time continues on and on and on, that little bit of a weight of being down 2 goals can start to feel a little bit heavy on your shoulders. Again, when you have 2 very talented teams like in this game, most of these kids play for very high-level clubs in Michigan and Ohio. Most of these players have played in huge impact-type games at the club and high school level, so you can't expect this game to finish 2-0. It could very well finish 2-0, but you can't expect it to. There's this much talent on the team, very well-coached kids, very experienced kids. So let's see what happens here over the final 32 minutes.
Trying to keep it in the territory of St. Francis here is Lutheran North. Leads back out over the 50 here for the Mustangs as they loft one back the other direction. Just trying to apply constant pressure to that back line here for St. Francis, seeing if they'll break. Foul committed that time. It's Brennan who hits the turf and gets it back on his foot.
Some very good clubs down in Ohio as well. You look at the Toledo area, Pace Setter has been very successful. You go a bit further east towards, Cleveland area. There's a few good clubs there, in Columbus, Cincinnati. It's very good soccer being played throughout all of Ohio as well. So again, that goes back to the experience factor. Both these teams have it. Both these teams are in the Catholic League Bishop Final for a reason. They've had great seasons. These 2 teams have combined for 1 loss. We're already at the beginning of October. So you can expect some, maybe you'll see a great play, maybe an incredible goal here down the stretch. Maybe St. Francis can take a 3-0 advantage. Maybe Lutheran North can find a way back into this game as they got a set piece coming up on a corner kick.
Yeah, Brennan again here on the corner. Brennan bends it towards the net. Couple of bodies there, and it bounces up over top of the uprights. Out of bounds. It will be another corner upcoming here on the part of St. Francis.
Look at that shot deflected off kind of the rib cage of a Lutheran North defender there on the far right side. So second corner kick of the match, second in the second half for St. Francis de Sales coming up.
Brennan again towards net, in front, and it's 3-0. Ryan Bossenbrook. And it's the senior who adds still one more, a little insurance in the second half. 3-0 lead for St. Francis.
That came off a set piece. The corner kick sent into the middle of the box. Lutheran North, kind of a mental breakdown there. They left a player wide open at the doorstep, 1 yard out. He was able to tap that home, so the game's starting to get a little bit away from Macomb Lutheran North. Toledo St. Francis de Sales, 3-0 here. Just the 51st minute.
Yeah, Brzezinski initially went to go up and punch that one away, and it left the goal wide open on the backside as they nearly find him again. Is this one spiked off the side of the net? Drew Puckett. Ooh. Yeah, and I think what you said, starting to fall apart a little bit, that seems like it's the case right now for Lutheran North. The turnover right as they started play there yet again, and nearly another one-time opportunity. Fortunately for them, it stays 3-0.
But lessons can be learned. Last year in this Catholic League final, it was the Bishop Tournament Championship. Orchard Lake St. Mary's had the best team they've had, and they were in control of that game. Toledo St. John Jesuit, there's 3 red cards in that contest. They were down to 8 men. They found a way to not only tie the game, they forced a shootout, and they won, I think, in like 6 or 7 rounds of PKs. So this is a situation where Toledo St. Francis is up comfortably 3-0, but you can never count out a team that's 13-1-1 that has some very talented players on their side. 1 goal can get you back into a game, then you score a second, and there's still time to get a third. Could it happen? Absolutely. Will it happen? You never know. I've sat through so many games in my life that I always expect the unexpected. I've seen so many great comebacks in the beautiful game here just within Michigan borders over the years.
Dan Stickrat, the eternal optimist. Trying to will Lutheran North back into this game. 3-0 lead, 3 different goal scorers all ready for the Knights in this one. And I guess that kind of highlights what we were talking about. A lot of different options on the offensive side. That last one, Boston Brook, that is his 8th goal. He's second on the team in goals scored, right behind Brennan. So goal scorers number 1 and number 2 both contributing here in this game to make it a 3-0 lead in favor of the Knights. But you're right, Dan, and I think it goes back to that first game. Talk about that in a second. Throw into the box and a header. Looks like a foul committed. So it'll be back here to Lutheran North. But, you know, it's kind of reminiscent of what we saw at Cristo Rey earlier. Even with that 2-0 lead, there was nothing conservative about their approach. They were still constantly attacking, constantly applying pressure. And that's the only way you can close out a team like this. Because, again, this isn't a gimme. Once you get to this point, you're playing the best of the best. So there's no reason whatsoever to take your foot off the gas pedal.
See, the Knights, yeah, some very talented offensive players as well. We've seen 3 different goal scorers, but they have the talent to add more goals to that scoreboard. Michael Brzezinski, the goalkeeper from Macomb Lutheran North, has played very well in this game. He's had 6 saves, but the Knights have been able to score 3 times. They've been very opportunistic, a couple close-range goals off rebounds or sitting right at the doorstep, able to tuck one home. It's the 54th minute, Catholic League High School Bishop Finals, but I sometimes wonder if we haven't seen the rest of the scoring. I think there could be more goals in this game.
I feel like you know something no one else knows.
Yeah, I just got this hunch. I saw last year's Wild Final, and again, that was one of the wildest games I've ever covered as a journalist in my entire life between Toledo St. John Jesuit and Orchard Lake St. Mary's. A year ago, that was down at Riverview, Gabriel Richard downriver. So I'm expecting maybe this game ends in a blowout. Maybe this game, the North finds its way back in and makes it very interesting. We'll see what happens here in the final 25 minutes and change.
On that back line for St. Francis, it's just been so steady Eddie in this game here today. Talking about the importance of being comfortable, being uncomfortable, and they have been extremely comfortable protecting the net, specifically here in the second half. Ooh, turnover.
It's the second time all season Macomb Lutheran North has given up 3 or more goals. They did lose a game here a few weeks ago to Orchard Lake St. Mary's 4-1. That was a AA division game. That was their only loss. Now they're in jeopardy of taking a second loss here in the Bishop Tournament Championship. When you have a team that has outscored the opposition by a huge margin this season, you know, they do have the talent to get back into this game. Lutheran North 46-12 scoring edge going into the game, so 46-15 at this point. Do have 7 clean sheets to showcase their defense, but sometimes in the sport of soccer you can have a relatively even game. It's about finishing, it's about being more opportunistic with the limited chances you get. St. Francis de Sales, we saw that rebound goal where the player made a run towards that back post, able to tuck one in from a couple yards out on that.
Oh, we have another yellow. Looks like this time they're going to give it to Drew Puckett. Sometimes that's just a product of frustration, saying something to the referee, and obviously from where we are, don't quite have ears on what exactly was said. That's not the important thing. The important thing is that something was said, but it results in a yellow card here. So we are now past 15 minutes into the second half.
You know, sometimes referees will let language go, sometimes they won't. And I remember I was at a high school game just reporting on it 12, 13 years ago, and one of the best players from one team, he swore in front of the referee, but he swore in Serbian. Unfortunately, guess what country the referee was from?
No way.
Turned around, instant red card. That team ended up giving up 2 late goals. They lost 2-0 just on some verbal stuff. Again, some referees will let it go unless it's pretty consistent. Then the cards will start flying. But some referee, just one time of hearing a 4-letter word, that's all she wrote. You're finding the bench.
Obviously, we know the importance of character, and obviously that's kind of centerfold when you talk about high school athletics. So not surprising that they would do something like that. But
so don't curse.
Yeah,
don't curse in other languages as well, because a lot of these referees come from different parts of the globe, and that's what makes soccer so special. Even in Michigan, it is a huge melting pot in certain communities. We have a huge Hispanic population. We have a huge Arabic population throughout different communities of Michigan. A lot of Eastern European nations represented well. A lot of people that grow up in the British Isles. And I'm getting to the point where you have a huge melting pot of nationalities in the soccer. Just because you swear in another language doesn't mean the referee's not going to recognize that and throw you a yellow or red card.
Brennan with space in front of him. Ooh, gets bumped from behind. That will be a card. It will also be a set piece in a really good spot. Damon that time was the one on the defensive end. Chopped Brennan down. And Lutheran North would really be advisable to stop giving opportunities to this young man. Just nearly missed on his last set piece on a really good save and goal by Przinski, but now, once again,
you can see his skill set, the way he moves on and off the ball, the way he takes his free kicks.
Brennan right into that front line in front of him. Not out of the woods yet, though, as this one's chipped up overhead through the football uprights. That would have tied it up in a different universe, but not in ours. So still 3-0.
21:40 left in this game. In the second half, Toledo St. Francis de Sales, 3-goal. They had 2 goals late in the first half, but 1 goal here in the second half. But 7-0 in shots, 3-0 with shots on frame, 3-0 in corner kicks. So they've created more chances. They've controlled a lot of the play after conceding a lot of the play in the first half. But those 2 late goals in the first half kind of switched the momentum. That was kind of a bat breaker that put Macomb Lutheran North in a huge hole. The Knights able to add that 3rd goal here just a few minutes ago. Puts them in a hard, not impossible, but hard spot in terms of trying to come back with 3 goals in the final 23 minutes.
Mentioning earlier how you were talking to Anthony Vanee, head coach of this Lutheran North team. And you're talking about how against Orchard Lake St. Mary's, it was just an off night for these guys. Lost that one 4-1. Turnover maybe for a potential opportunity here for St. Francis. Brennan has that one sent away.
Looks like the Knights have kind of put it in overdrive. They have elevated the game here in the second half. That momentum switch, again, happened late in the first half, scoring in the 37th and 39th minute. Able to carry the momentum into the second half. It's been all Toledo St. Francis de Sales in the second half, able to add a 3rd goal, and they have controlled play.
Centered, looking for Gibbs. Little bit wide of his head as it sputters its way into the corner, and it will be a goal kick.
You saw in that cross, though, Julian Gibbs, the high-flying sophomore from Macomb Lutheran North. That ball goes into the middle of the box. She tries to, bring the ball down. They have 3 marking backs within 2 yards of Gibbs. They're well aware of his presence. They're well aware he's their leading goal scorer. He is one of the it's hard to say. It's such a deep class of sophomores in Michigan. There are so many very talented sophomores. I would put Julian Gibbs in that group of the top 10, the top 20 sophomores in the state.
Jace Van
But I'm
Hevel.
saying he has got a reputation of being a great finisher. The Knights have been putting players' bodies on him. They know where he is at all times. And when an opposition has a player that's had 22 goals, you're just the beginning of October, you definitely have to put a mark on that player.
Jace Van Hevel getting helped off the field there. More on that in a second. Cross into the box up top, and it gets up over the goal. So a goal kick impending here for St. Francis. But that was Jace Van Hevel, who you saw on your TV screen just a moment ago. We're talking about one of the more important pieces of this back line. Third team, replacing third team All-State selection Brandon Avery, who's been really big for this team, but getting helped off the field that time by the goaltender and Przinski. So we'll have to see if he comes back into this game. Obviously a key piece for this squad as we approach just 20 minutes left to go in this one. And if they want a chance at coming back, he's going to have to be a part of that equation here for this Lutheran North team. Was getting assisted off the field there just a moment ago.
You saw that last corner kick. That was Gibbs that got high in traffic. That header, he couldn't get enough height to be able to head that down towards the goal, but just the first shot attempt in the second half of the Mustangs. So a chance there. They were unable to get anything on target, but looks like the Mustangs are starting to feel a little desperation, down 3-0. They're going to start playing a little more harder, more physical, try to get back into this game. It is very difficult, not impossible, very difficult to come down a 3-goal disadvantage, especially if you're inside 20 minutes up on that scoreboard.
And we do dip inside at 20 minutes now, about 19 and a half. Some substitutions coming into this game. Want to thank everybody that's joining us here on the Michigan Soccer Network tonight. Again, you can find us all across social media, Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, Instagram. Did I mention Instagram? I don't know, any one of them. We're on all of them.
Twitter, LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
We just added TikTok. You just mentioned that. We just had that page added here to our repertoire a couple of weeks ago.
Have we gotten into MySpace at all quite yet?
You know, I'd like to see that kind of revitalized. What do you think? That was my first social media platform. I think back in 2005 I added to MySpace. Back then you had to go to another person's page to learn about them, and it's interesting times. Now there's literally hundreds and hundreds of different social media platforms across the globe. Obviously others are more popular in different countries than others, but
hit off a couple of different jerseys. Looks like they'll give a goal kick here to Przinski.
But it has done wonders for the media and standpoint.
Big time.
Where when you write a story, when you broadcast a game, maybe write an editorial piece, do a feature story, whatever you're doing, you can sit there and take those links and put it on as many social media networks as possible, share it to as many connections and many different teams, leagues, organizations, whatever you're looking for in that particular sport you're sharing with. And it's amazing how quickly the page views, the comments are coming in on a story, the emails start coming across. We ran that player ranking a couple weeks ago, just highlighted 60 very good field players and 6 goalies across the state. Literally I had over 500 names listed, so it's very difficult, but those are just 60 very good players that have had good high school seasons, good club seasons, were good last year.
Look at this. In front, that was Puckett, who tried to chip it a little bit further in front. Opportunity quickly taken away, though. Tough slide tackle. That time Brennan doesn't get the whistle. Looks like he got part of the ball on that one. Yeah, Dan, you and I, you know, as a writer and obviously as a broadcaster too, I know as a play-by-play broadcaster, it's one of those things where obviously social media has helped out a lot with getting to learn more about these players. But, I mean, as a play-by-play voice, I could probably work for the CIA with how much behind-the-scenes information I've gotten to gather on these teams. That one cleared away. Looked like some physical play. Maybe could have drawn a whistle.
Gibbs was
inside the box.
Actually, he was trying to cut back in the middle of the field. There was some not only contact, it looked like a Knights defender had the jersey. He kind of tumbled to the ground. The referee says play on, but I've seen at times where a referee, even from the other side of the field, could potentially call a penalty kick on something like that. There was a ton of contact. He said play on, but now we're inside the final 17 minutes. The look of frustration started to show on the faces of the Mustangs. Macomb Lutheran North, just one shot in the second half, none on target. They've only had 2 shots on target in the first half, so Toledo St. Francis de Sal, their back line has done a great job of shutting down Lutheran North's high-flying offense. Julian Gibbs, 22 goals. Matteo Vitale, who came over from the MLS Next Academy circuit with Vardar Academy. Those two players are electric. They have been bottled up for most of this contest.
A lot of it just coming down to schematics in this game, not necessarily for lack of talent. It just seems like St. Francis has played their brand of soccer all night here tonight, and it's resulted in this 3-0 lead. Flip back towards midfield. A little bit of a lob and run approach here on the other side for North. Mustangs try to race their way back into this game, maybe get a goal on the board. This one knuckles out of bounds, and now a goal kick as we enter the final 15 of this Bishop Championship matchup.
And we saw the all-Catholic first team, all-league second team players honored from the 4 divisions between the two contests. Again, Detroit Crystal Ray, intersectional 1 champion in the regular season. They won their first Catholic high school league Cardinal championship in program history. They just inches away. You can see how dangerous Gibbs is. They do have marks on him at all times, but you give him a little bit of real estate, he's the type of player that will uncork one of the back of the net in a hurry.
Give him an inch, he'll take a mile.
Again, there's a lot of very good players honored at halftime. It's based on where you finish in your division, how many medals you get on that all-Catholic or the all-league, which is the second team. Plus, they also do an all-academic team as well. But it's, you know, like in any league, it's hard to be all-conference or all-conference honorable mention or second team. It's hard to be all-district. It's hard to be all-region. It's very hard to be all-state, make that 11-member dream team be all-state, first team in one of the 4 divisions. These things are not easy to do, and there's a lot of very good players out there who necessarily don't always get their due on postseason lists. Sometimes they do. Sometimes you're in such a deep district, it's hard to get so many very good players on those lists.
Turnaround drive, high and wide. Jasinski doesn't have to attempt at that one, out of bounds. You'll get the ball back inside of 13 minutes now, 12:42 to play. And obviously the growth of talent at the high school level here in the state of Michigan has also helped the college level too. You know, it's interesting, we were talking about the women's side, Michigan State, a team that has a lot of the products that we've seen here at MSN throughout the years. More you than me. Obviously, we're just coming on this year, but right now ranked #1 in the country. But getting to honor some of the best in the Catholic League, as you were talking about, in between Game 1 and Game 2.
Yeah, I look at some of the biggest clubs in Michigan. You look at the Nationals, you look at the Michigan Hawks, Midwest United, the Michigan Jaguars. You look at some of the state powerhouses at the high school levels, and even some of the lower levels of club. Michigan State has been able to keep a lot of those players on different tiers of the soccer pyramid in state, wearing the Spartans uniform. And they have built here the last few years. Now they are a national powerhouse. They're in the driver's seat of that Big Ten race, the expanded Big Ten race with all those schools joining the Big Ten here.
Ooh, takeaway, a move. Ooh, Przinski.
The last I checked, I think Michigan State was like 9-0-2 overall.
Yeah.
Towards the tail end of last week. They're #1 again on the polls this week, so they have done a great job of building that up. The Big Ten is always a very good conference. You know, those are huge schools. They're able to attract players from all over the country, each and every team that has a soccer team in the Big Ten. Really, if you are an athletics program in the Big Ten, you have a chance to offer a great education, a great roster spot to an athlete to play great competition. Why not go to a Big Ten school?
Right.
Especially if you live in the state of Michigan. You have Michigan State, Michigan right here. Indiana's not far away.
Yeah.
You know, Penn State's 6 hours to the east.
Yeah.
You know, you get a little bit towards the coast, but you can get down to Champaign, Illinois for Illinois in 8 hours.
Right.
And on down, Purdue's only like about 5 hours away. That's not too far out in Indianapolis. You go up to Madison, Wisconsin, up to Minneapolis, St. Paul for Minnesota. But
on even
Michigan players, and look at just soccer alone. There is a ton of Michigan players that played at high levels of club or high school, attending Big Ten universities right now for men's and women's soccer. Some of those players I had the pleasure of seeing different levels.
A spirited conversation going on. Dominic Siraki ends up getting a yellow and gets sent off the pitch after getting an explanation as to why he was getting that yellow. Definitely a physical play along the near sidelines. That'll bring a new name into the game here. Mateus Brajic back into the game here for the Mustangs. Also checking in, Leo Vani. Well, and even for the Toledo-based teams too, Dan, you know, why venture outside the Big Ten? Why venture outside of two schools, Michigan State and the University of Michigan? You don't have to go anywhere else in the Big Ten. That's fine.
There's some very good soccer programs in Ohio.
Especially with our Toledo listeners a little bit. It's just messing with you guys. You know, I got to.
But Ohio State's always good in soccer. But Dayton's another team that's solid.
Rochester Adams has a player that's going to Ohio State.
Denoto is heading to Ohio State. He actually spent his junior year with Caledonia's Drew Diebold down at the MLS Next with the Columbus Crew last year. That's a huge commitment to be able to do that, but you get a ton of exposure with Division I programs when you sacrifice that much to go spend a year or two or three playing for a MLS club as a high school student.
I refuse to call them the Ohio State, though. They just had to trademark the word the. Just so that nobody gets confused with the other Ohio State that's floating around out there. Free kick upcoming here for the Mustangs. I got a lot of angry listeners right now, I'm sure.
We actually did a game this summer. It was a UPSL game end of July. We drove to Cleveland, Ohio. They asked us to do a broadcast a game in person. It was at Cleveland State. Beautiful campus, about a mile east of downtown Cleveland. What was disappointing was their press box. It was a wooden shack, could fit about 5 people in it. No windows. It was wide open. The elements have taken that.
Yeah.
It was like, I was like shocked to have a Division I school with that kind. It was a beautiful field, the skyline in the background, beautiful field enclosed by a fence, some old grandstands in front, but just disappointing from the press box standpoint of being a Division I college in the Horizon League and just having that type of a press box. But it was a good game. We watched 2 very good teams from New York State come over. UPSL, that's a huge national amateur and semi-pro league that, you know, there's a spring and summer season, there's a fall season. We have over 400 teams across all states in the country that play in the UPSL, which is another venue for young college players or even players just out of college to keep continuing to play at a quality level.
Throw in for Lutheran North. It's Paul Jimenez. Now officially inside at 10 minutes, Nate Wangler, Dan Stickrat, Corey Bird, who's been doing a great job on the 1s and 2s all night here tonight. In attendance at the game, Jonathan Turner running our camera. He's also been down on the field as well. He's been running all over.
Jonathan Turner, our broadcast director, up with Ryan Gagnon and Sam Fisher, part of our camera crews. We've got multiple camera angles at this game.
He's running around like a chicken with his head cut off, but I feel like that's nothing new for one Jonathan Turner. Gibbs gets tied up. And I believe they're going to call this foul on him. So physical play back and forth. He's the one that ends up drawing the whistle. St. Francis wasting no time with just 8 minutes left to go and a 3-0 lead. It feels safe at this point. But as Dan has been alluding to pretty much all night, you can never rely on any score at any point in this game of soccer. Just need a couple of lucky breaks to end up going your way. Joel Neary, just a sophomore in net for St. Francis, so an exciting prospect for this team, the fact that they'll have him back for 2 more seasons.
The Knights have 5 sophomores that are getting minutes for this team. They only have 1 loss at this point in the season, so able to get the job done. They were Central Division champions in just their 2nd year of being in the Catholic High School League. They're just minutes away from being their first Bishop Conference tournament winner. A team that you're going to definitely have to watch in that Ohio High School Athletic Association state tournaments.
Now inside of 7 minutes to go. Obviously for Anthony Vani and this Lutheran North squad, things aren't over quite yet, even after this game has concluded. A little bit of a frustration response. Luca Gibbs brothers, been doing everything they can to try and get Lutheran North back into this game, but Whatever it is just hasn't been working.
The Gibb brothers, we can think about the other Gibb brothers and the old band, the Bee Gees. They used to sing in great harmony. Lutheran North not singing in such great harmony tonight. They have been bottled up by a very, very talented Knights of Toledo St. Francis de Sales. Lutheran North just snake bit tonight. Just 5 total shots as we're now in the 74th minute. 2 shots on frame, both in the first half. They had 1 corner kicker in the second half, and Gibbs tried to get up, head that ball towards frame, just unable to get it on target, and the chances have been few and far between for Macomb, Lutheran, North. So the Mustangs, you can see the frustration, the way the players are stamping their feet.
Well, now at this point, it's all a matter of just for the confidence sake, trying to get one into the back of the net. Matteo Vitali, the one that will try and set it up here. Nudges one towards the net. It's quickly turned away, so that opportunity quickly goes by the wayside. But you want to try and build off of this, maybe get a late goal. But obviously we know this film is going to be very important, and obviously come the next film session, going to be a lot of hard conversations. Head coach Anthony Vanese, he tries to get this team geared up for a run towards a potential state championship. Again, trying to do something in winning that state championship they haven't done in school history. And obviously these last couple of years have all been building blocks in that direction. Brzezinski fields this one at his feet. We are now inside of 5 minutes here in this Bishop Championship. It seems like all signs, at least at the moment, pointing towards the Knights.
You look at Lutheran North, so they are a Division III school right now enrollment-wise in the state of Michigan. They were a bigger school years ago. They won the Class B state championship. It was 37 years ago, 1987. I remember they won their game. East Lansing won in Division Class A. So back then it was Class A, Class B, and then CD were combined. 1997 it switched to 4 divisions. But they've had some very good teams over the years unable to win another state title, but this team has a talent to win in Division III. They got a huge road just to get out of their districts with 2 other fellow top 6 teams in there. So you have 3 of the top 6 teams in Division III, Country Day, Pontiac Notre Dame Prep, Macomb Lutheran North, all together in the same district. St. Francis de Sales is a much bigger school. They're more equivalent to a large Division II school here in the state of Michigan enrollment-wise, but very talented team. I'd like to keep an eye and see how far they go in the state of Ohio in terms of their pro season, which comes up in less than 2 weeks. And then the MHSAA, their 4 divisions start with the pre-district round in the middle of next week. So exciting time of year as we're in the final 5 minutes of this matchup. We're going to see over 70 different schools crown conference championships here at the end of the final of the regular season. 4 teams won MHSAA type titles. There is a homeschooling network and 2 Christian associations which will crown state championships as well. But a bulk of the teams do enter the MHSAA tournament. And I expect Lutheran North to be a very difficult out in their district. They could still win that district. There's 3 very good teams. Never know what's going to happen.
Talk about Pontiac Notre Dame, too. Recently ranked #1 in the most recent rankings on MSN. What an unbelievable fall they're having, really, on both sides. I mean, the soccer team is unbelievable. They're ranked #1. Their football team is undefeated. They just really rolled over Grand Rapids Catholic Central, who's been one of the powerhouses year after year. I mean, it really doesn't matter where you look. That athletic department is having one heck of a fall season. Doesn't really matter what sport you're talking about.
Pontiac Notre Dame Prep has been a long-time state powerhouse in girls volleyball as well. Last year was only the 2nd time in a quarter century they did not win a district championship last year. They had a rebuilding year. They graduated 9 seniors from their 2022 state title team. But Betty Rubel, their coach at Notre Dame Prep for volleyball, she'll get
with a drive. Brzezinski a save, a rebound. He got a piece of that one too. Now able to crawl on top of the ball here. This is all just kind of a formality here at the very end, but Brzezinski, despite where the lead is, once this one comes to an end here tonight, I don't think there's anything to really hang your head on when it comes to this ball game. St. Francis was just that much better in getting opportunities in front and really kind of overwhelming Lutheran North with their offensive prowess. Offsides called here on St. Francis. We are officially just over a minute and a half away from crowning yet another champion.
And the Catholic does things a little bit differently, so that you have 7 schools in that Central Division. You play each other once. However, in the AA division, in the intersectional 1 and 2, you play each other twice. So you get a chance to see schools 2 times in the regular season. With St. Francis, they're a different animal because it's just their 2nd year in the league overall. They've never even played Lutheran North. This is the first time they've been to the Catholic League tournament finals, and they're just a couple minutes away from winning it. They're up 3-0, so they should win. But it's a great story because that's a strange situation where the 3 Catholic League schools in Toledo, their league broke up a couple of years ago. They joined the Catholic League because all the other remaining schools joined another conference in the Toledo area.
We are inside the final minute of play, just 40 seconds left to go. St. Francis, who just joined the Catholic League last year. Part of that storyline coming into the game, 2 teams getting here for the first time. One of these teams looking to escape with their first ever Catholic League title.
It'll be a 2nd year in a row that these Toledo schools have won the Bishop tournament. Last year, Toledo, St. John Jesuit had a miraculous comeback, defeated Orchard Lake St. Mary's in a shootout in the final. They had 3 red cards in that game, found a way to win that matchup, and now one of their counterparts is just seconds away from winning it in year 2 for the 3 Catholic schools.
And as those final seconds bleed off the clock, the Knights slay the Mustangs, and they kick down the door in the Catholic League and claim their first ever Bishop Championship here in the MHSAA. A 3-0 shutout. 3 different goal scorers in this game. Joshua Brennan, Ryan Bossenbrook, and Gavin Trent make it a 3-0 shutout victory as they take home some hardware and say welcome to Detroit City from Toledo. A team that has dominated all throughout here in 2024 and is now meshing at just the right time as they also look to make a run towards a state championship in the state of Ohio.
What an effort. You saw those 2 late goals in the first half. There's the first one here, but it gave them all the momentum. They carried the momentum throughout the whole second half.
That was the first one from Gavin Trent. Joshua Brennan, that fastball, just top shelf.
Absolute brilliant strike by Brennan on that.
And the backflip, too.
Not to be denied. He just turns and uncorks one upper 90. You can't get a better shot than that.
No.
That shot not only reached upper 90, it had a ton of pace.
Got some mustard on it. Tough to make a save on that one. There you go in the 3rd goal of the game in this one for St. Francis. Off a deflection, finding it in front of the goal, able to put it in off the head, Ryan Bossenbrook, and that was the one that capped it off in this 3-0 shutout victory. Also did it on the defensive side. Great shot of the Knights here as they get that 3-0 shutout win. And as we talked about in game number 1, despite winning this one here today, they get to crown themselves Bishop champions for the first time in school history. But once again, job not done. There, as you see, the coaching staff, and maybe more specifically, Anthony Vanee, or rather, Mike Kern making his way through all the players, congratulating them. And for someone who's been such a big part of this program, to get them to this point now and really to take down a team in the Mustangs you talked about was talented top to bottom, had a lot of depth to come out of this one with a 3-0 shutout win. That has to deliver so much confidence to this team moving forward.
And Michael Kern, a 2007 graduate of Toledo St. Francis de Sales, he has this team clicking on all cylinders. So look for them to do well in the Ohio High School Athletic Association. Home Lutheran North, one of the top teams in Division III and the MHSAA here in the state of Michigan. Very tough district coming up. 3 very good teams. Only one of those 3 teams between Macomb Lutheran North, Detroit Country Day, and Pontiac Orient Prep will advance to the regional round here in a couple of weeks. But both these teams do have the talent to go far in their respective states, respective divisions. Only one team stands alone here today at Royal Oak Shrine. Toledo St. Francis de Sales, the Knights, second year in the Catholic High School League, Central Division champs, Bishop Conference Tournament championships, undoubtedly the top team in the Catholic League in 2024.
And two first-time champions here tonight as we see the trophy ceremony. The runner-up to Lutheran North, it was Cristo Ray who collects the Cardinal Championship, and then St. Francis de Sales in the Bishop Championship, their first as a program. One more time here from Royal Oak Shrine High School on what has been a great day of soccer all around. Two shutouts here today. Cristo Ray 2-0 as they collect their first, and then a 3-0 shutout for St. Francis de Sales here in the second one in the Bishop Championship to collect their first ever in the Catholic League. Well, Dan Stickrat, thanks a whole lot for joining me on the broadcast here tonight. Always an exciting opportunity to work with you, and what a great night of soccer. Yes, two shutouts, but a couple of great matchups between both of these two sides, and really an awesome opportunity to see a couple of programs get their first ever in school history.
Yeah, a lot of exciting to be able to do that. Sometimes you watch different conferences around the states, the same schools winning year in, year out. We've had a couple of first-time winners today in the Catholic High School League Tournament Championships. You look individually, they announced the all-conference teams between the two contests, but there's a lot of players on these four teams that played here today that when the all-district, the all-region, the all-state teams come out here in Michigan, Ohio, you expect to see some of those names high on those lists. So we saw a lot of very good, talented players. Detroit Cristo Ray, the Cardinal champion, they were an intersectional one divisional champions in the regular season. That is an up-and-coming program. They're in the top 5 for the first time in their program history. Macomb Lutheran North made a lot of headways from just winning 4 games 3 years ago. They are 13-2-1 at this point. But if they can get out of one of the toughest districts in Division III, Lutheran North can make a run to the Final Four. I expect to see Lutheran North, Country Day, or Pawnee Notre Dame Prep make a deep run. Which one of those 3 teams will win that district? It's going to be very difficult for all 3 of them to advance. I don't see any other teams posing much of a threat to those 3 schools in that particular district. But from the individual standpoint, we saw a lot of very good players here today. I'm interested to see where some of these stars end up in the all-state list here come early November.
St. Francis de Sales getting their medals here after this 3-0 shutout. Again, one last time here on the Michigan Soccer Network, 3-0. St. Francis gets the win. Look out for this team come the playoffs. From Nate Wangler, Dan Stickrag, Corey Bird, Jonathan Turner, Sam Fisher. Am I remembering everybody? I think there's one more.
Ryan Gangham.
Ryan Gangham also out at the stadium here today. Full production here on MSN. One last final time. 3-0 shutout victory for St. Francis. We got some more soccer action coming up. Again, keep it locked to MSN for everything high school soccer around the state of Michigan. And until we talk to you guys next time, so long, everybody.
We wish to thank Ben Kirker, Shrine High School, and their athletic department for hard work and the use of this excellent facility. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and please travel safely.
The following is a presentation of the Michigan Soccer Network.
This has been a presentation of the National Soccer Network.